Status of women in ancient India. Women in Bharat, India were always empowered. They remained empowered from Vedic times to the present time. They were well educated. A sculpture in a village temple in Jalasangi shows a woman writing a letter. The temple belongs to the Chalukyas who ruled thousands of years ago in Karnataka. Many such sculptures prove that women were highly educated and knew reading and writing from ancient times. Shakuntala wrote a letter to Dushyanta in Kalidasa's play, Shakuntalam. She was brought up in an ashram. In Kalidasa's epic poem Meghadut, the Yaksha sends a letter to his wife who obviously knew how to read it. It is said a fact that women's subjugation in Bharat started with the foreign invasions. During the times of foreign invaders, there was a deliberate attempt by the missionaries to degrade the status of women in Bharat by quoting falsely from the ancient scriptures. The women of Bharat enjoyed the highest status that has ever been recorded to any woman in the world during the Vedic times. The Vedas always put women on a high pedestal. This is very easy to see from the fact that the Sanatana Dharma is the only religion that worships God in the form of a woman. Our women gods are given as much honor as our male gods. In fact, in the names of the divine couples like Lakshmi Narayan, Gauri Shankar, Radha Krishna, you will notice that the name of the female counterpart always precedes the male. Is it possible that such a religion can ever degrade a woman? Starting from the Vedic period, women in Bharat have been given the highest level of respect and freedom. They were encouraged and given full opportunity to reach their highest potential. Women seers like Gargi, Maitri, and Lopamudra, etc., had reached an exalted state of spiritual realization and were not only respected but venerated. They were called Brahmavadinis or the knowers of Brahman. Women stood for the foundation of moral development and were a decisive force in ancient Hindu society. They enjoyed equal status with men. They were educated and allowed to train in the art of warfare if they choose. Rig Veda mentions the warrior queen Vishpala who was trained in the art of warfare. She lost a leg in battle but was quite undaunted. She put on an iron leg and resumed fighting. Throughout history, Hindu society has seen many female rulers such as Rudrama Devi, Chhatrapati Tararani, Ahilyabai Holkar, Jhansi Ki Rani, etc., and slaves like Andal, Mirabai, philosophers such as Gargi and Maitri, and female practitioners and conductors of Vedic rituals. When we look at the hymns of the Rig Veda, we find a very important sukta called the Devi Suktam, which declares the feminine energy as the essence of the universe, the one who creates all matter out of the metaphysical reality of the Brahman that is filled with consciousness. Hinduism has the strongest presence of the divine feminine among all major world religions from ancient times to the present. The goddess is viewed as central in Shakti and Shaiva traditions. Matriarchal theology is quite prevalent in Sanskritic traditions, and even now there are numerous Hindu communities that are matriarchal in nature. When we come to the Puranas, we find that feminine power is extolled as the most powerful and empowering force, particularly in the Devi Mahatmya, Devi Upanishad, and Devi Bhagavatam. Even in our epics, we find the entire story to be interwoven with the lives of various women. Of course, Sita and Draupadi are the women, protagonists of Ramayana and Mahabharata. They were both very strong women. Despite all attempts to stop her from going, Sita insisted that she would accompany her husband to the forest. There are many incidents where she argues and even advises Rama on certain topics. The figure of Draupadi, of course, dominates the story of the Mahabharata. Without her, there would have been no epic. But there are a number of other women in these epics that are portrayed as being very strong. Look at Kunti and Gandhari, the queens of the epic. How strong were they? What about Subhadra and Uttara? If the latter have not had absolute trust in Krishna and run to him when the Brahmastra sent by Ashwatthama was chasing her, the whole line of the Pandavas would have perished. If we look at the Ramayana, we find a host of extremely powerful women. Without Kaikai and Mantra, the epic would not have taken the form it has taken. Lakshmana's mother, Sumitra's advice to her son is really amazing. She did not even try to stop him from following Rama. She told him to regard Rama as his father, Sita as his mother, and the whole forest as Ayodhya. When we look at Lakshmana's wife Urmila again, we cannot help but admire the way she handled the whole situation. She did not beg to be taken, but she decided to stay back and look after his parents as he wanted her to do. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, again is a great woman. such strength and conviction. The same applies to Tara, the wife of Bali. Both of them gave such good advice to their husbands, which, if they had followed, they would not have been led to their death. On the contrary, all through our history, we find that women were put on a high pedestal. To come to the present day, the Constitution of India gives equal rights to women, the right to vote, right to equality, etc.